The ground still trembled as Jason and the team descended into the heart of Zorith, guided by the flame-bound guard through tight corridors etched with molten veins of Orc energy. Beneath them, the city groaned. The Union-forged creature below, the hybrid of tech and void-born infection, was fully rising now, shedding centuries of dormancy like old skin. Jason's voice crackled through comms.
Any word from Naomi?
Still jamming the beacon, but she says the signal's mutating. She might only have minutes before it gets out.
Mark adjusted the straps on his explosives rig.
Then we just need to hit it before it starts broadcasting bedtime stories to every dark god in the void.
Seyna let it point, her blade lit and humming. The blue flame along its edge glowed brighter with every step closer to the creature's core.
I can feel it feeding. The shard inside you, it calls to it.
Jason touched his chest, where the faint thrum of the shard pulsed harder now, almost agitated.
Let's hope that doesn't work both ways.
The corridor opened into a massive chamber, a split cavern of steel and stone, housing the full monstrosity, legs like scorpion limbs, a spine of linked pylons rising into the ceiling. A head shaped like a fractured helmet, etched with Union markings twisted by void-born corruption, and at its chest, a glowing orb protected by a shield of shifting gravity. Naomi's voice came through again.
Jason, that orb is the transmitter. You destroy that, and it can't call out.
Jason stepped forward.
Then we do this fast.
And as the team raised weapons, the creature turned toward them, its many eyes lighting up like stars going supernova. It saw him, it remembered, and it attacked. The chamber erupted. The void-born construct launched forward, a blur of metal limbs and dark energy. The ground cracked beneath its weight, sending debris flying as Seyna rolled to the left, blade slicing a jagged leg that sparked but didn't slow. Jason dove behind a shield column, shouting into his comm.
Alex right flank, Mark, keep it off Naomi's signal.
Alex moved without hesitation, unloading a rapid burst from her plasma rifle that slammed into the construct's side. The creature staggered slightly, then screeched, a sound like bent metal and tortured memory, and swung a limb toward her. Mark, already grinning like a madman, ducked and flung a pair of microcharges onto the creature's lower back.
Boom package incoming.
Jason emerged from cover, aiming for the glowing orb in the construct's chest. The shard inside him pulsed again, harder. The construct paused, turned.
Look like he knows me.
Jason said aloud. Seyna leapt onto the creature's back, driving her blade into one of the glowing pylons along its spine. The energy shuddered and blinked, disrupting the flow for a moment.
It's connected to you. Use it.
Jason dropped his rifle, placing both hands over his chest. He closed his eyes. The shard pulsed again, and this time he answered. He sent out a signal, not a word, not a thought, a command, stop. The void-born construct froze in place mid-lunge. Sparks flickered from its limbs as if something inside it hesitated. Alex stared in awe.
Jason, are you controlling it?
Jason's voice was strained.
No, just confusing it.
The shard pulsed again, violently. This time the creature pushed back. Jason staggered backward, blood trickling from his nose.
It's learning.
Naomi's voice came over the comms, panicked.
Jason, the beacon just surged. The creature's syncing with outside signals. It's trying to override your control, trying to pull in more Voidborn.
Jason clenched his fists.
Then we shut it down now.
Mark triggered the charges on its back. Boom. The creature reeled, shrieking as smoke erupted from its ruptured spine. Alex and Seyna moved in tandem, blade and plasma tearing into its core. Jason aimed his last shot directly at the orb and pulled the trigger. The bullet struck, the orb cracked, and the world exploded in light. The explosion wasn't fire, it was memory. Jason fell through light, not the harsh, blinding kind, but a rippling wave of echoes. He saw flashes of Jarrus Armitage, battles fought in impossible landscapes, creatures that only partially existed in spacetime, and Orc warriors marching beside him in glorious defeat. And the construct, it wasn't just a weapon, it was a repository. A last-ditch containment engine designed to absorb remnants of the Voidborn and trap them inside. The Union had built it from Jarrus's stolen memories, reverse-engineering pain into purpose. But they couldn't control it, so they buried it. And now it wanted to become him. Jason gasped as he landed hard, rolling across the chamber floor. The light was gone. The construct was still standing, barely, its body cracked and sparking, the orb in its chest shattered but still glowing. Seyna ran to him, eyes wild.
Jason, are you?
I'm fine, the damn thing. It's tied to the shard, it recognized Jarrus, it tried to overwrite me.
Alex knelt beside the smoking wreckage.
Whatever it tried, it failed. That thing's not getting up again.
Naomi's voice come through again.
Beacon is offline, you stopped the pulse, but something heard it, something big. Long-range sensors just picked up a massive spatial ripple. Something's coming from deep space, and it's moving fast.
Seyna turned to the husk of the construct.
Then this was just the first scout.
Mark holstered his pistols.
I hate scouts, they never come alone.
Jason touched his chest, still glowing faintly from within. The shard had gone quiet, too quiet. He turned to the others.
We've got to get back to the Omen. Whatever's coming, we're not going to meet it underground.
Garun met them at the stairwell, flanked by the surviving flamebound.
The city is yours to command. Zorith stands with you.
Jason gave a grateful nod.
Then let's get ready for war.
And above them, far beyond the reach of light, something old and vast was already on its way. The Omen's engines were already humming when the crew burst into the hangar, their armor scorched, eyes sharp with adrenaline. Naomi stood over the main console, fingers dancing across hollow displays.
We've got about 20 minutes before that inbound object drops into real space.
Jason strapped into the command chair.
Size of the ship coming.
Too big to be a ship. Too controlled to be an asteroid. It's moving like something alive.
Mark slapped a fresh clip into his weapon.
I'm getting tired of all these ancient horror surprises.
Seyna joined Naomi, reviewing the energy signatures.
It's not just alive, it's layered. Like it's carrying more than one entity. A swarm, maybe.
Jason's face was grim.
Or a carrier.
Rurerio, silent until now, stepped from the shadows at the rear of the bridge.
The first of the Voidborn was never alone, he was a voice in a chorus. You silenced him, the others have noticed.
Alex loaded the ship's cannon targeting Matrix.
Then, let's give them something to remember.
Jason nodded.
Naomi, scramble every stealth satellite and sensor buoy. Alert every ghost system we have on record.
That'll expose us to the Union.
Let them come if they want the truth, they'll have to stand with us, or burn trying.
Outside the ship, Zorith's sky began to swirl with unseen pressure. Storms formed without clouds. The aurora turned black at its core. Jason turned to the crew.
We need to intercept whatever's coming before it hits another system. We don't give it time to land. We fight it in the dark where it thinks we're weakest.
Seyna stepped beside him, laying a hand on his shoulder.
Not weak, waiting.
Jason took a deep breath.
Set a course for intercept.
Naomi input the coordinates. The nav systems groaned under the pressure of plotting a path that didn't exist on any Union map. Jason turned to the crew, his crew, who now stared at him with the same fire they'd stared down gods with.
We do this together, we fight as one. And no matter what comes through that rift, we show them what happens when they threaten this galaxy again.
The stars bent, the Omen jumped, and far ahead of them the void opened. The Omen emerged from warp just beyond the threshold of an uncharted rift, the backdrop of space here painted in deep crimsons and fractured starlight. Before them, a swirling abyss of darkness, rimmed with fractured energy like lightning frozen in motion. Jason stood at the helm, eyes locked forward. Naomi's voice trembled slightly.
I've never seen anything like this. The gravitational field is bending light. Even time markers are fluctuating. We're at the edge of spacetime.
Seyna watched the horizon.
And something's crawling through.
The rift pulsed, and then it arrived. A colossal structure, organic and mechanical, emerged from the rift like a hand reaching out of a nightmare. It resembled a ship, but its shape shifted constantly, as though space itself couldn't decide what it was. Tendrils of voidborn matter lashed out, connected to bulbous, glowing cores across its hull. Alex's voice dropped.
Tell me we're not fighting that thing alone.
Naomi's scanners lit up.
We're not. I've got incoming multiple warp flashes.
Mark wondered.
Is it the Union?
Jason nodded, jaw set.
And someone else.
Out of hyperspace emerged 3 Union warships. But behind them, Zorethian destroyers, ancient vessels retrofitted with Orc tech, sailing like gods of war. Garun's voice came through the comms.
Zorith stands.
Let's light this thing up. Target the exposed cores, hit it hard and don't let it think. If it starts adapting, we lose our edge.
The Omen surged forward. Seyna launched from the side bay in a personal glider, slicing through one of the tendrils with her flaming blade. Mark manned the secondary turret, whooping with joy as he laid down cover fire. Alex coordinated with the Union fleet reluctantly but efficiently. Naomi's voice rang through the ship. "We've destabilized one of the cores. Jason, now's the time." Jason stared at the burning creature ahead, feeling the shard inside his chest stir, like a compass pointing toward the abyss. He closed his eyes, reached into the shard, and unleashed it. A beam of golden energy tore from the Omen's core, striking the creature's main node and rupturing it. The beast screamed, not in pain but rage. Jason's voice was calm.
"Rurario now."
The Zinth assassin leapt from the shadow bay, his body splitting into phantoms as he injected a silencing pulse directly into the creature's neural core. The rift entity convulsed, then shuddered, then stopped. The stars stilled, and the rift closed.